Thank you, Dirk. I just wanted to double check that everyone can hear me. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great, excellent. So today I am going to be telling you about two different resident sentiment surveys, one that we conducted here in the Yukon and one that is being currently conducted across Canada. I work for the government of the Yukon and I am the manager of industry services. So we look after tourism planning, development, and research. I also sit on the Research Advisory Committee for Destination Canada, so I will be sharing their work with you today. The first survey that I'll tell you about is from the Yukon Tourism Development Strategy. So the Yukon Tourism Development Strategy was established in 2018, and it had three main goals. We want to have a thriving tourism economy, sustainable tourism development, and resident support for tourism. To measure resident support for tourism, we decided to launch the first Yukon Residents' Perceptions of Tourism survey. This survey provides a strong baseline for the Department of Tourism and Culture to measure and monitor local satisfaction with tourism and perceptions of issues specific to the Yukon. The survey will actually be repeated every 2 years to monitor local perceptions of tourism and ensure that sustainable tourism growth aligns with Yukon's core values. The main question that we wanted to ask and get a sort of a baseline measure was whether residents feel that tourism is good for the Yukon overall. We had a target of having 80% of Yukoners perceive tourism as being good for the Yukon. And after our first survey, we determined that approximately 94% of Yukoners feel tourism is good for our destination. In this survey, we also asked a series of questions related to community. So I won't go into the results at all, but I wanted to let you know that beyond just being good for our region, we also wanted to ensure that local perspectives related to tourism were measured. The results of the survey show that, that there are a lot of mixed views on tourism, and we dig deeper. We understand that Yukoners perceive that there are a lot of benefits to our economy, the creation of jobs, and that tourism contributes positively to our quality of life. But we're starting to see some warning signs as well that Yukon residents feel that tourism might negatively impact travel on our highway system. It may cause damage to our environment, and it may make it harder for Yukoners to find reliable housing. There are a whole series of indicators that are measured and assessed in the report. So you can follow up on that. We focus on economic, social, cultural, environmental, and community elements. This is what I'm showing you today is just a sample of what we measured. The second survey that I wanted to highlight has been established by Destination Canada, which is Canada's marketing and research, tourism marketing and research agency. When the COVID-19 pandemic was announced, Destination Canada brought the provinces, territories, and cities together to begin discussing the impacts and challenges we were all facing as destination managers. After a series of these discussions, we realized that with our international border closed and Canadians actually starting to fear other people, we needed to learn more about Canadian residents' perceptions and sentiment towards visitors and travel during this unprecedented time. Destination Canada initiated a weekly omnibus survey of residents across southern Canada. So Lisa mentioned earlier, we are in the Yukon, which is in the northern part of Canada. This survey was conducted with residents in the southern part of Canada, which makes up a huge proportion of our country's population. This Canada-wide benchmarking survey provides results that are comparable across jurisdictions and will help us better understand resident sentiment in relation to the evolution of the pandemic and public health and safety measures. By standardizing the resident sentiment questions, other destinations like the Yukon or our friends at the Thompson Okanagan Tourism Region can also do their own surveys and compare their results nationally. The first questions that asked Canadians how welcoming they felt towards visitors from communities near them, communities within their province, which is within their region, how welcoming they felt towards visitors from other provinces within Canada, visitors from the United States, and then from other countries. As you can imagine, the level of welcome is tied to the origin of the visitors and perceptions residents have about the health and safety status of those origins. What we found was that Canadian residents are feeling more welcoming towards people that live closer to them and less welcoming as they move beyond their community. This is something new for Canadians. We love to welcome people to our homes and to our towns. So this was a really, this pandemic has really sort of shook us all up, as I'm sure it has with your destination. As destination managers, we also wanted to know when residents were going to start feeling comfortable seeing campaigns promoting their community and their region. And we also wanted to know how comfortable they were if they saw advertisements targeting different audiences or other jurisdictions. So we used the same geographic metrics, but from a sustainability standpoint, this information is really directing and informing our social license to promote a place. And it is a concern that has been raised by many jurisdictions across Canada. The last question that we've been asking Canadians is trying to understand our residents' perceptions about their own travel. Our borders are still closed to all Canadian, so all Canadian destinations, our destination and communities within our destination, as well as across Canada, are sort of vying for the same visitors and beginning their work towards recovery of the travel and tourism sector. I realize that I haven't really shared a lot of results with you, but here on the screen now is just a sample of the results that you can read more about in Destination Canada's reports. To find more information about this research, about Yukon's research, you can look online at yukon.ca, and I've included the URL as well as my contact information. For Destination Canada's research, you can again find all the information, all reports have been published there on a weekly basis, and you can also contact their manager of research, Michelle Dubray. Thank you very much.